Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Robert Sports Show. I'm your host, Robert. Alright, we're on the cusp of the Final Four college football playoffs. They are today, actually. We are on the cusp of the championship game, which is next Monday, January 9th. Next Tuesday, whatever January 9th is. We have two SEC teams in the Final Four. This championship committee, 2 years in a row now, it doesn't matter if you win your conference. Because if you're 2 losses and you win your conference, you've been out. Last year, Penn State, this year Ohio State, both Power 5 schools, both with 2 losses, but a 1-loss team got in who played one less game. They only had 1 loss, they got in. So I came up with a radical realignment of the NCAA college football programs. Right now we have 130 FBS teams. 65 of those teams are in your Power 5. Only your Power 5 can make playoffs. That's 50% can only make playoffs. Reality, come on guys. The Power 5 conferences, not all 65 teams can make to win the conference. Come on, we all know that. I would go with 30 teams can win those 5 conferences. So you get 25% of your teams that are able to make the playoffs. So I did a radical realignment where we came down to, we have 8 conferences, 16 divisions. You win your division, you go to the conference game. You win the conference game, technically the playoffs, the 8 conference champions. Then you get the round of 4, the round of 2, or the round of, so it'll be 16 teams, 8 teams, 4 teams, 2, and that's your champion. So I got rid of some bowl games, I got rid of some other things, but I redid the conferences and a new click on here because I know how important sponsorship money is. Of those bowls we eliminated, we took those sponsors, they sponsor the conference. So now we have the Nova Home Loan Pacific Conference, the DXL Southwest Conference, the AutoNation Mid-American Conference, the Quick Lane Great Lakes Conference, the New Era Northeast Conference, the Northrop Grumman American Conference, the Zaxby's Atlantic Coast Conference, and the Raycom Media Mississippi Valley Conference. The 8 conferences, your 8 conference title games would be the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl, the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl, the Walk-Ons Independence Bowl, the San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl, the Outback Bowl, Cactus Bowl, and the Camping World Bowl. Those are your conference title games. The next round of the playoffs, you would have the Overton Citrus Bowl, the Tax Slayer Bowl, the Goodyear Cotton Bowl, and the All-State Sugar Bowl. Now you're down to 4 teams. Your two semifinal games would be the Hyundai Sun Bowl and the Capital One Orange Bowl. The winner of those 2 go on to the Rose Bowl, brought to you by Northwest Financial. You still have an additional 15 bowl games. We would keep the Las Vegas Bowl, the Valero Alamo Bowl, the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, the Music City Bowl, the Dollar General Bowl, the New Orleans Bowl, Foster's Farms Bowl, the Hawaii Bowl, the Belk Bowl, Armed Forces Bowl, the Texas Bowl, the Birmingham Bowl, the New Mexico Bowl, Gasparilla Bowl, and the Bahamas Bowl. So really your bowls have pretty much kept all of them. You've taken 8 of them, got rid of them, but you kept the sponsors on the conferences, which that would give more money to each league. So now how these 8 conferences would be divided up. Basically it's all geographic. That way, one, you have kids staying closer to the colleges as they travel for games. And if the fact that they say they live in rural America in the middle of Iowa. And you're, I'd say you're a blue chip quarterback and you live in Iowa. You have a couple choices. You can go to Iowa, you can go to Iowa State, Nebraska, and you can stay in the Midwest. I mean, we all kind of know if you want to win a national championship and you're in college football, you ain't staying in Iowa. You ain't staying in the Corn Belt. You're going to Ohio State, you're going to Auburn, Alabama, Clemson. Those are the schools you're going to. So you get this 17, 18-year-old kid from Iowa. Well, I'm I want to win a national championship in college. I want everybody to know who I am. You're going to Alabama, Clemson, one of those schools. So now, your family wants to go see you play. They got to travel. Because you don't have a shot, really, at making the Big Ten title game and making the playoffs when you're in Iowa. You have an outside shot, but you don't have a great shot. You can go to Ohio State if you want to stay in the Big Ten. If you grew up a Big Ten fan, but come on, really? Michigan State? Do they really have that to get into the playoffs? With my system, you can make the playoffs no matter where you go to school at. I'm just saying. It might take 4 or 5 years for the system to really get into place because of the way recruiting's done and everything, but hey, you never know. So here's how the conference was shaken down. The Pacific Coast Conference. In the North Division, we have Boise State, Washington State, Oregon, Idaho, Nevada, Hawaii, and Oregon State. In the Pacific Coast South, we have USC, San Diego State, Stanford, Fresno State, UNLV, UCLA, California, and San Jose State. In the Southwest Conference, we would have in the West, Arizona State, Arizona, the University of Texas, San Antonio, Texas, New Mexico State, Texas A&M, Texas Tech, New Mexico, and the University of Texas, El Paso. In the East, you have TCU, North Texas, Houston, Texas A&M, SMU, Southern Methodist University, Texas State, Rice, and Baylor. Now, the Pacific Coast Conference is kind of the little Pac-12, and to a point. The Southwest Conference is kind of a combination of, Pac-12. We got a couple of SEC schools and stuff. But the thing about the Southwest Conference, you have the Longhorn Network. Mid-America Conference. In the West Division, you have Colorado, Wyoming, Colorado State, Utah, Utah State, Air Force, BYU, Nebraska. In the East, you have Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Missouri, Arkansas, Arkansas State, Kansas State, and Tulsa. The Great Lakes Conference. In the West, you have Wisconsin, Northwestern, Notre Dame, Northern Illinois, Iowa, Iowa State, Minnesota, Illinois. In the East, you have Michigan State, Michigan, Central Michigan, Western Michigan, Purdue, Eastern Michigan, Indiana, and Ball State. Now, with these conferences, my other thought process with these would be you have almost a preseason type game, your game one of your season. You have an 11-game season. Game one is against an FBS team. Everyone plays an FBS team. So everybody has that, not necessarily powder puff game, but they have a little simpler game one. Not have some schools have a have the FBS team and some play, Oklahoma and Ohio State, So you have everyone playing an FBS team. And then during your regular season, you have, obviously there's 8 people per conference. You have 7 division games. 3 home, 3 away, 1 neutral site. That gives you 8. You have the 7 division games, the 1 FBS game. That gives you 3 games against the other division in your league. You can do 2 home, 1 away. You can do 1 home, 1 away, 1 neutral site. That'd give you 2 neutral site games for the season. Whatever you wanted to do with that. The other 2 conferences would be the Northeast Conference, which in the West you have Ohio State, Toledo, Ohio, Marshall, West Virginia, Akron, Pittsburgh, Kent State, Bowling Green. In the East, you got Penn State, Army, Boston College, Temple, Buffalo, Rutgers, Syracuse, UMass, and UConn. In the American Conference West, you have the Virginia Tech, Louisville, Kentucky, Navy, Virginia, Old Dominion, Maryland, Liberty. In the East, you have NC State, Wake Forest, Duke, Appalachian State, Miami, Ohio, Cincinnati, North Carolina, East Carolina. In the Atlantic Coast Conference, you have in the North, Georgia, Clemson, South Carolina, Georgia State, Georgia Tech, Tennessee, Coastal Carolina, and Charlotte. In the Atlantic Coast South, Central Florida, Florida Atlantic, South Florida, Miami, Florida International, Florida State, Florida, and Georgia Southern. In the last conference, the Mississippi Valley Conference, in the West, you have LSU, Mississippi State, Southern Miss, Louisiana Tech, Ole Miss, Louisiana Lafayette, Tulane, and Louisiana Monroe. In the East, you have Alabama, Troy, Memphis, Auburn, South Alabama, Middle Tennessee, Western Kentucky, and Vanderbilt. So that will wrap up Robert Sports Show's version of the radical realignment for the NCAA. New schedule, you got 11 regular season games. You would have, at the most, 4 playoff games. You get rid of the championship committee. You don't have these polls kind of deciding what is going on when it comes to playoffs. You do it on the field. I mean, let's face it, college football is a semi-pro sport. Like it or hate it, it is. I also think that these student athletes do deserve some type of compensation. Yes, they get a college degree. Yes, that is important. But if you're at a school for an academic scholarship or for some type of other non-major sport, football, basketball, baseball, you can have a part-time job and earn money and still have a scholarship and still play a sport. Unfortunately, when you're, especially the big two, basketball and football, you don't got time. The NCAA should come up with something that all FBS teams can go, okay, there's 130 FBS teams. Anybody who participates in a sport who does not have a part-time job, so you got to kind of limit this. Does that mean there's going to be athletes who have a part-time job who quit their part-time job? So be it. But if you have a part-time job and you're an athlete, you don't get involved in this. You come up with some type of $100 a game, $100 a month, $200 a month, whatever it would be. And I know these schools can afford it. They're paying their coaches $8 to $10 million a year. They get multi-million-dollar TV deals, multi-million-dollar bowl games. You can be a mediocre team, 500 team, make a bowl game right now. You're rewarding mediocrity when you have a 5-7 or a 6-6 team in the bowl game. So make your bowl games count. Pay the players a little bit, guys, girls, whoever it is, and make it easier for a blue chip athlete from the Corn Belt, from wherever, who wants to play big time college football, to be able to do it in front of their friends and family. That's all I'm saying. So thanks for watching Robert Sports Show. As always, and have a great day. Have a spiffy day. Robert Sports Show, your YouTube leader in sports channel content.